quick video. Today, I'm gonna be showing you all a game, my most recent game that I played, where I played in an actual match against an actual human being. And I'm just gonna say it was pretty insane. At which point, my opponent offered a draw, I declined the draw, and I should have accepted the draw because I did end up losing in the late game. But in this game, I'm going to be showing you all the most crazy game that I've ever had. So, let's get started. So we have d4, trying to do the Queen's Gambit by pushing my pawn right there. Yeah, pushing my c pawn to c4. They move their d pawn to d5, and I push to c4. Now, I was hoping they would take, but they didn't, and instead played knight to f6, protecting the pawn so that if I were to take, then knight would take. And also, even if I were to take beforehand, the queen would just take, so I guess that was kind of a dumb move in general, but it's still developing the knight. So, yeah. We have e3 protecting this piece. I want to protect this piece as much as possible. Oh, I get why he played that move, that last move, because that way, if I would to like take or something and would do like something dumb, then he would then take, and then if I were to push this pawn, then he'd take that pawn as well. But I did not see that in the long run. So we have pawn move up, so that bishop is protecting. And we have pawn to b6. Not really devaluing the position, not really benefiting it, but not really like damaging it either. So we have pawn to b4, trying to push this pawn forward, creating that strong opening this side a little bit, and preventing the bishop from taking that square so that that pawn would take. We're just looking at little opportunities. And also you've got two checking opportunities right there that are looking pretty juicy. But anyways, so we have pawn to c4. I mean, yeah, pawn to b4, sorry. And then we have bishop to b7. Bishop to b7 protecting this pawn. Now that pawn's protected three different ways. Not really that good of a move in my opinion, but I just pushed. And he played knight to d7. At this point, I decided to, pin his knight, and so now his knight can't move anywhere. So he moved a6 to, you know, attack my bishop, and I just took the knight, and he recaptured with his queen, and now his queen is in the play. And by the way, this is a pretty bad position for me anyways right now currently, because his his bishop and queen is active while I have no pieces active. My rook, knight, bishop, queen, king, other knight, and other rook are all on the back rank, and my other bishop is not in play anymore. So yeah. this game is already not going very well for me, unfortunately. So we have knight to c3, just trying to maybe threaten this pawn. I really do not know what I was thinking. Maybe looking on doing queen right there. Or maybe looking at a pawn right there. I'm really not sure. And then we've got, oh no, I think I was trying to push this pawn. Yes, yes, yes. Um, and then we have knight to g4 played. Sorry, not knight to g4. Sorry, I moved the wrong knight. Sorry, let me just reset the position here. We got bishop, pawn, bishop takes, queen takes, knight to c3, knight to g4, protected by the queen. And instead of pushing these pawns, I mean, I didn't feel the need to push this pawn because I didn't want him to like do something like that and then I like take and then he do a check. Even though he most likely would not have done that, but you never know. So I decided instead to play queen b3, helping to attack this pawn. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Also planning on moving my bishop out so that I may castle. But yeah, so we have b5 played, just advancing that pawn a bit. And now we have, and now what I played is, what I did now was I played f3. That way, if he were to go there now, I could take, and there would be no checking opportunities now. So he decided to just move his knight back. It's not doing nothing. Nope, nope, nope. I played bishop b2. He played queen e6. And I played knight to e2. That way, if he takes, my queen's defending. So he played g6, most likely not knowing what to play, and I, in this case, castled, therefore protecting my pawn and getting my king out of danger. Now we have bishop h6. We have bishop to h6, also threatening this. And in order to protect that, I just moved my rook to d3. Protecting, not really doing nothing. And now he castled, getting his king out of danger, even though his king was never really in danger. And in this case, I was really wishing that my pawn was not there so that I could look at multiple like checkmating opportunities like that and whatnot. But my pawn was there, so I had to learn to work around that. So I did knight to g3. Knight to g3 played. c6. And I don't know why he played g6 because that's just blocking his bishop in. Now his bishop is trapped. It can only go backwards. But who knows? Who knows what he was thinking? So I played knight to h3. It's defended by the pawn. And queen to d7 was played. Queen to d7 was played, getting out of danger, seeing as though I could move right there and threaten him. I mean, sure, he could take, but then I'd take, and my pawn would be starting to get closer into enemy territory. So, anyways, we have queen to d7, king c2, kind of lazy move, not really wanting to do anything that round. Queen c7, also kind of lazy. And then I played rook to e1, protecting this pawn, and so that I could push, so that if they were to take, I'd take. Sorry, if push, so that if they were to take, I'd take. If they were to take again, then I'd take and have my rook out on to play. Also, I also have my horse defending here, so yeah. Anyways, we have um rook to e1, a5, and here I just decided to play a3. I didn't want to take because then he'd take, and then or he'd probably take with the queen or any of those pieces, and I just did not want to do that. So then we have bishop to c8, pushing his bishop back. We have knight to f4, knight to f4, finally putting my knight out on the board, which my whole point was take, 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 and then I take, even trade, and my king would still be in a safe location. So we have bishop takes f4, pawn takes f4, and then we have e6. Now he's just trapping his bishop. His bishop is now like trapped. I mean, sure, he's protecting his pawn two different ways, but his pawn is trapped now. So I just decided to move knight to e2, right? Knight to e2. Knight to e2 was played by me, and we have a4 threatening the queen, quite an aggressive move, and I just moved my queen back to a2, getting it out of danger, and also then I can just move it back there or there, and then just move it there, and stuff like that. But yeah, so anyways, we have knight to h5, knight to h5, and now here, seeing that my pawn was threatened two different ways, he'd gain pawn material advantage. I moved to g3, and we have pawn, sorry, not pawn, bishop to a6. Kind of a worthless move if you ask me, but then again, maybe his plot was to move his rook again, but then again, maybe I'm wrong. So anyways, bishop to a6 was played, and I moved bishop c1, helping to protect, as you can see. And now we have f5. f5, take, take. If I take, at this point, I'm like, he's got to have some sort of plan. So why don't I just move my pawn to g4? Which was a pretty dumb decision, if you ask me. Yeah. First of all, take, and there's still two things protecting it. If you were to take there, then I'd take, and now I'd have three things protecting it. But yeah, so we have g4. Nope. f5, g4. Knight to g7. Knight to g7 played, pushing his knight back. And knight to g3, preventing his knight from going back out. If he were to go back out, I'd take. Or I'd probably take with the pawn. So that if they were to take, then I'd take. And if they were not to take, then I just take that pawn. And if they were to push forward, then I just take that pawn. You get the idea. So now we have. So we had knight to g3, queen to d8 was played. Queen to d8 was played. And I saw this move from a mile away, moving right there. Can't move my knight out of the way because then my rook will be taken. Yep. But there was one way to prevent everything from being taken, I think. What did I play here? I know I played something that g5, g. Oh yeah, g5 preventing him because then now he can't like jump over pawns. He's not like freaking ChatGPT or something. So now we have queen to d8. I mean, and then pawn to g5, bishop to c8, rook h1, planning on pushing this pawn forward. Just push, push, take, 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 and getting my rook into the defenses. You know, just some little stuff like that. So, rook h1, rook a7, h4, queen e8. Now threatening if he were to take, then threatening. Well, I guess not really threatening a check right now, but sometime in the near future threatening a check. So I just, when in doubt, what do I do? What do I do? Rook to e, queen to e8 played, and I played rook to d2. Rook to d2. Played by me in this scenario. And we have knight to h5. Knight to h5. King b1. Knight to h5. Rook g2. And then both takes on g2. This way I got both my rooks on there. Life is good. We chillin', we chillin'. And then he played h5, preventing me from pushing my pawn anymore, because pawns can't go forward when there's other pieces forward. And now we played queen to... No, not queen. They played h5, and I played king to b1, opening my queen up for attack. We have queen to e7. Queen to e7. And at this point, hold up. This was the position that my opponent offered a draw. And the reason being is the fact that none of our bishops could really do anything. I mean, I guess we have bishop to right here, but queen e2 was played. I mean, queen e7 was played. Queen h2. Here I was looking at sacrificing the rook, pawn takes, pawn, pawn, queen, and then queen checkmate or queen checkmate. So I was looking for the really far future. But we have queen to queen e7, queen h2, queen g6. Wait. Queen g6. Queen g6. Queen right here. I believe. I believe so. Oh wait, no, actually. Pawn was pushed right there. And now here is where my opponent offered a draw. In which case I kindly said no. And said make a move. Please, respectfully. Respectfully make a move. And so I did. I played king c2, and then instead of doing the pawn and stuff, I simply, well, I'm gonna end the video right here. It's been enough time. Thank you so much for watching. This was a crazy position. Pretty much none of our bishops could get out and do anything else in life. And pretty much none of our pieces could do anything. This was a very closed game. If you enjoyed this video, please like. Don't have to subscribe. Very much appreciate it if you did. And if you enjoyed videos like this, please let me know. If you did not, please also let me know. Don't dislike necessarily, but just let me know and comment down below about how I can fix my uh my videos. Thank you very much. Peace out.